Well, the United Nations has confirmed something that many have believed for a long time, that the dollar should not be the international currency and that something else should be used instead. The news came out in a UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs report, but now the question becomes what should replace the dollar and how this will impact the American economy. Well, joining me to help discuss this is Gerald Celente, Director of the Trends Research Institute. Gerald, first of all, after the financial crisis in Greece, there were rumors that other countries that were on the euro were going to be the next to fall. So you would think that the dollar would become the most stable currency. But now the UN says you can't rely on it. What's going on here?
Well, people jumped out of the euro and into the dollar. That's like leaving the Titanic to take a ride on the Lusitania. They're both going down. There's a global financial crisis going on. And as you well mentioned, they've been talking about a new reserve currency or another currency. China, Russia's been talking about it for a couple of years now. So this is just another scheme in trying to salvage a situation that's run out of control.
And you mentioned the euro isn't looking so pretty either. So if the dollar isn't reliable and you're saying the euro isn't so great either, what is?
Well, gold. And that's why you're seeing gold now selling at $1,243 an ounce. Let's put it into perspective. First of all, of course, the dollar isn't going to be worth a dime considering the direction they're taking. The United States is almost $14 trillion in debt, and they want to take on more debt to keep bailing out the system. It's not working. Today, we're looking at a Dow that closed at roughly, what, 9,774 points. You know what levels that is? That's 1999, March. Now let's look at gold. Back then, gold was trading at roughly $250 an ounce. So gold has gone up $1,000 an ounce, and look at the real numbers of the U.S. economy via the Dow, and it's at 1999 levels. That's what we're looking at.
Okay, but Gerald, we saw gold going from record highs to record lows. I mean, how can you trust that?
Oh, this is a very different time than the 1980s. There was rampant inflation in the U.S. It's a very different story now. You're seeing a global meltdown. There's no way out of this. Everyone knows that Greece isn't going to be able to pay off its debt. And we just saw today Spain's bonds being downgraded once again. No, there's a global financial currency crisis. They're coming up with another scheme. Just as the euro didn't work, now the IMF is going to come to the rescue, put together a basket of currencies for everyone to draw from, and that's going to work. What currencies? The real? Hey, how about the peso? Maybe the yen. It's not going to work.
Right. I wanted to ask you about what the UN is proposing here. And, they've called for a universal currency. Is that a realistic option in the near future?
No, it's going to fail, just as the euro is failing. It's getting all too big, and they keep trying to make it bigger. They think that bigger is better, but when big fails, it really fails big. No, you're going to start seeing countries on the opposite end going back to their old currencies at many different levels, particularly in Europe.
And I think an important thing to consider here is how all of this is going to affect the American economy. I mean, what will the consequences be for the United States if countries around the world stop buying the dollar?
We can see a devaluation of the dollar. That's what we're looking for, rather than a high inflation. And we believe it is going to happen, whether they call a bank holiday or not. In some way or another, we're going to see a dollar devaluation down the line. It's not worth the paper it's not being printed on.
Well, that's Gerald Celente, Director of the Trends Research Institute. Some pretty scary repercussions of all of this discussion. Gerald, thanks.